Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. We are back again for another debate, and this time I am joined once again by Alex from Stretford Paddock. How are you doing, mate?
Not bad, how are you?
I'm very good. And today's special guest, after Jay from Full Time Devils on last week's episode, this week we've got Adam Mckola from Full Time Devils. How are you doing, Adam, mate?
All good, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And we are here today, all feeling very well, to discuss Paul Pogba. Sort of the elephant in the stadium. Okay, that doesn't even really work. He's the something in the somewhere at Manchester United at the minute, and it's the sort of thing that's lurking in the background at all times. Will he, won't he? Will he stay? Will he go? Should this agent have said this? Should this brother have said that? It's the sort of the most controversial thing going on at Old Trafford, and for some reason it just won't seem to go away, the controversy. So we are going to be discussing whether it's time for Paul Pogba to leave Manchester United or whether we should stick with our world-class midfielder. So to defend Paul Pogba today, Adam Mckola is going to be on the side of Pogba in, and Alex is going to be on the side of Pogba out. What we're going to do, lads, you're both going to get 30 seconds to give me your opening arguments, and then I'm going to question you, I'm going to quiz you, and we'll take things from there. Adam, as soon as you're the guest, you will be able to go first to say why you think Paul Pogba should stay at Manchester United. Are you ready? 30 seconds on the clock. Let's go.
Well, Paul Pogba should stay at Manchester United because he's our best player, quite simply. Losing him would be daft. You've then got to go out and replace him. And the players that we could potentially replace him with, as great as they are, aren't better than Paul Pogba. If you can keep him, he signs a new deal. You've got a big headache left out of the way in terms of replacing him. And the team's a lot stronger for it. And I think with the squad that we have, he could be a big part going forward.
Stop the clock. 24 seconds. Don't need the full 30 this guy.
24 seconds.
Don't need it. Yeah, exactly. And speaking of to go, we've got Alex trying to get Pogba out the door. He's pushing him out. He's packed his bags. You've got 30 seconds. You've got 30 seconds for your opening argument. Alex, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's go.
I think it'd be ridiculous for me to argue that Paul Pogba isn't our best player at Manchester United, but I do think now is the time to go. I think he's now pushing for that last deal, and the last thing we want to do is put him on a deal that means that we cannot get rid of him in the future, and that kind of sticks him around. And with all the trouble that's been caused around him, I think now is the time to move on and try and replace Paul Pogba.
Wow, again, 24 seconds. What are you two?
That's all you need.
Yeah, exactly. Clearly. Two very good arguments there, two very strong arguments. The first thing I would like to do is come to you, Adam, and say, what about all the controversy that surrounded Pogba? I know it's not.
What I would say is
it's not all his fault, but it's there, isn't it?
What controversy? Like apart from him saying last season that potentially I could see different challenges elsewhere, he hasn't actually did anything wrong. It's not like we're keeping a Lukaku who was clearly upset. He was doing stupid things on Twitter and he was clearly kicking up a fuss, or other players. We've seen Harry Kane recently come out and say if Tottenham aren't doing what I need them to do, I could potentially look elsewhere, and that could be seen as a kick up the arse of the club, because the club would have brought this player on the proviso that we are doing X, Y, and Z, and we're trying to bring him here to build that around that. And I don't think they would have fulfilled any promises to Paul Pogba when they signed him. And when he's arrived, actually, when you look at the stats last season, people say he hasn't performed for Manchester United. I think that's rubbish, to be honest. I think he's had he's not been consistent, and I think that's been an issue for the whole squad over the last couple of years. But when the team has played well, it's been mainly because of him over those last few years. People get giddy because of Bruno Fernandes now, but they have short memories. And last year, Paul Pogba was just doing just that. And I think instead of now looking at and thinking, oh, we've got Bruno, we don't need Pogba, how about trying to keep as many good players in the team as possible? We've had players do daft things in the past. I remember the Scholes refusing to play in a League Cup game. Roy Keane, he was in contract negotiations and he scored at Old Trafford against Valencia and kind of had a weird celebration and things like that. And these things happen between clubs and players. Rooney even had it. And there's no doubt that Pogba likes United. He loves the place, but he obviously sees that he could win things elsewhere. Why not show him that this is the place to be? And I think maybe Ollie's shown him that over the last couple of months.
So you mentioned Pogba's stats. He did get 16 goals and 11 assists in all competitions for United last season. But what I'd like to say to you, Alex, two A's. That was a bad idea. What I'd like to say to you, Alex, Adam says there, what controversy? Do you think that there has been a sort of a circus around Pogba since he's joined United?
I think I agree with Adam in that case. I don't think it's anything to do. I think Paul Pogba has been wrongly accused of doing things and doing what he has done. And he has said the comments of wanting to leave, and that's probably the one mark against him you can hold. But I don't think he got bought into a team that I don't think he was wanted by Mourinho. I think that's clear to see that he was bought before Mourinho came in. There wasn't a system in place for him, and it was kind of shoehorning him into that system, and that wasn't. The one thing I had this argument with Jay the other day about David De Gea, and I think that next contract for Pogba, I think if he does stay next year, we're going to have to offer him something, and it'll get to that point where it's not just a case of he'll become our highest player by a long, long way. I just don't think we wouldn't be able to move him on if it ever got to that case. And I think if
I
you
actually
offer
disagree with that.
$400,000 a week,
like in the sense that, sorry to cut you, but in the sense that with all this coronavirus stuff going on and the leagues not playing, Spain and Italy and all that, Juventus and Real Madrid ain't going to be lining up to be spending big money on this guy. There's not going to be much competition driving that wage. The wages up. And when you look at even Ronaldo's wages have been put on hold for a little bit in Italy. Like they're not going to be flocking to go there. So it's not like United have to compete with anybody. His wages would go up, but I'd imagine they'd just go to the level that maybe Alexis Sanchez is on now for doing fuck all in Italy.
But those wages of Alexis Sanchez clearly disrupted.
But that was because
the
of
side.
Him doing fuck all.
But but what I would say back to you there,
he was playing well.
But Alexis Sanchez has played almost as well as Paul Pogba this season because Paul Pogba hasn't played. Is there a chance that we're giving a contract extension?
That's dangerous there because if Paul Pogba was on Alexis Sanchez's wages last season, let's say, do you think the players don't care about that? It's when players aren't doing fuck all and they're on ridiculous wages.
But do you think there's a chance that if he is to stay, that we may be signing up a player who, let's face it, this ankles are notorious for never quite getting back to where they were. We've heard Robin van Persie talk about his ankles. We've heard countless players down the years talk about
on that because I don't know enough to.
Well, neither do I. That's why I'm saying
his ankles are perfect. Do you know what I mean? Because I genuinely don't know. I don't.
Would you not worry about that?
Much of a risk. I don't think it's much of a risk.
No.
United will earn a lot of money off him commercially. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a commercially viable product.
I don't think that's the case. I think De Gea is obviously not at the same level as Pogba, but we're kind of at that boat now where you can't get rid of David De Gea, even if we decided that we've got a better option in there. And I think in 12 months' time, if we've got a system, and you've seen this season, I think for as much as I think Paul Pogba was class, I think that we've found a way of playing football without Paul Pogba, and there might be better players to fit the way that Ollie wants.
I don't think we have though. I really don't. People keep saying, "Oh, McTominay," and like it's McTominay.
I think you need one more.
Like Fred, even like Pogba is a better version of Fred. Do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't, not like for like, by the way, before people kill me. But I think it's the same with De Gea. Like people saying, we couldn't get rid of De Gea. Why do we want to get rid of De Gea? Like we're looking at Dean Henderson like he's the man to come in and solve all our problems. Amazing talent. He's doing fantastically well at Sheffield. But leave him where he is. Like, why do you want this kid to come in at Old Trafford, sack off De Gea? I'm not saying that's what you're suggesting, but there's kind of this whole kind of wave towards, should we get rid of De Gea and have Henderson? And it's like Henderson's a young kid. Imagine he come in, made a mistake. The furore that would be around him. It's different at Old Trafford.
Yeah. If you want to see the full argument of that, there is Alex who was actually defending De Gea against Jay Motti. That came out on Wednesday, so go and check that if you haven't checked that one out already.
So are you contradicting yourself in this argument at the moment?
No, because
not in the slightest. No, no.
But it's not for the same reasons necessarily.
No. But I just think that I think that. I mean, it's very different with goalkeepers as well, where you can't. It's 1 versus 1 there. You've got Dean Henderson coming in. Is he a direct replacement for De Gea? You kind of can say that argument. With Paul Pogba, you can't say that in the slightest. What you can say is Paul Pogba left. You can find a system that works better. You can look at Liverpool. Liverpool were never going to replace Coutinho. There was never going to be a player that comes in and could do what Coutinho could do on a pitch, and you could never see that. But what they did find was that they've got Henderson, Wijnaldum, and Fabinho that sit down behind what they're good at, their pacey front three, and do all that legwork, which is kind of how I see United going, where you've got a bit more work in the midfield and let the front three do things. If you put Sancho in there next season, if you've got Rashford and you've got Martial, that's not a front three that's going to do a lot of defensive work for you. Your midfield three needs to be more Liverpool-esque in more hard working. And that's where I kind of think that Pogba kind of steps away from that.
But to come back to that though, United, you say that, and I hear what you're saying, and I tend to. There's a way United could strengthen the team if Pogba left, where you don't directly replace him, but you function better as a team. I hear that, but if United sold Pogba, the players we would be looking at surely are Jack Grealish and James Maddison. Now, for as good as those two players are, and I'm a massive fan of Jack Grealish, they're not better than Paul Pogba. Do you know what I mean? They don't change the way we play massively, do they?
I think they're more. You would say certainly about Maddison that he's more industrious than Pogba, and he's got a bit more kind of. He's not quite as well. Actually, what I would like
having the physicality of Paul Pogba outweighs the industriousness of a James Maddison.
Okay, so off the pitch then,
and Pogba's better than both.
Let's talk about.
I think you'd say I'd go more the Sal route to replace him. I think that's where your money needs to be spent, with someone that can play a little bit deeper, that can play and do a bit more of the dirty work with it, rather than being the Maddison. I think the Grealish thing could come in as well, but he is maybe your alternative to Bruno. Is maybe if you want to play a slightly different system where it is maybe a more diamond, that he's your 10, or even as someone that can drift out to the right hand side. I think that's where Grealish fits in. I don't see them as the replacement for Paul Pogba. I think what you need to do is you replace him with someone deeper. You replace him with a Sal, or you go the other way and get someone that's a pure number 6, an Ndidi kind of player that's just literally going to sit there and let the players do the work in front of him.
I just can't see us doing it. That's like why I think it may let it go. Or if Pogba signs that deal, if he doesn't sign a deal, there's no point. Like, just get him gone. But if he signs a deal and he commits to the club and he sees a future there, I just see Martial, Rashford, Pogba. That is fucking that is that can lead us to the trophies that we want to win.
But we've had Martial, Rashford, Pogba for the last 4 years and not really won the trophies.
But come on, that's like saying in 05, well, we had Rooney and Ronaldo then, but we didn't do anything.
No, but that's not my point. I'm just pointing out them to become. That's all.
You've got to allow them to become what they're going to become.
That's not necessarily what I think. I'm just suggesting that
you're not even arguing
it's had time together in the past. But what I would like to ask you, Adam, is you sort of say what controversy. You've got the likes of Mino Raiola, who is sort of an enemy of the state when it comes to United. Sir Alex Ferguson has come out in the past and said how much he doesn't like him. He's done nothing but talk about Paul Pogba wanting to leave. He's done nothing except fuel rumours. We've got his family. And even like you said, Paul Pogba was saying last summer, it might be nice to have another challenge elsewhere. You can't say that there's been no controversy. And even if you don't think he's deserved the criticism he's got, what you can't deny is that he is getting that criticism. And it's all good when United are winning, but do you think that sometimes when United aren't doing well, this criticism and this sort of attention that Pogba gets, whether it's deserved or not, do you think that drags the team down and it kind of puts an unfair pressure on the rest of the squad?
No. I find Mino Raiola annoying, and I do think there seems to have been a point recently where Pogba's probably said, "Yo, chill with what you're saying a bit." That's assuming, because he has shut up and backtracked on a lot of what he said, and what he was saying didn't help anybody. But I ultimately think if a deal is signed, like, I know it may sound naive, but your player's there then for 2-3 years at least. You know what I mean?
But it isn't as though we haven't had this controversy around Pogba, even when he first joined, when he had a 5-year deal in front of him.
We had this with Ronaldo. We have this with Man United. Will always have this with players. We bring Jack Grealish in, it'll be.
So do you think if Pogba goes, someone else, they attach to someone else, and they become the person that's the controversial player? Okay, so you think it's a United thing rather than
Pogba and his agent do not help himself. Yeah. I'm not naive to that, and I think as an adult, you almost have to take some responsibility. If someone's speaking out in public like that, you have to say, "Yo, that's my workplace. Like, shut the fuck up." Do you know what I mean? You can't be speaking about people like that. But there does seem to have been that kind of, in the last few months anyway, that kind of where he's kind of backtracked a little bit. I don't know whether that means. Don't know whether that's because he's now seeing that Juventus and Real Madrid ain't as interested as they once were, and it's in his interest to be quiet and do a good deal with United. There's also that option to it as well.
Yeah. So if it is the case that he is, the teams who would like to buy him, and in theory he would like to join, obviously with Silvaiola. You say it's been a couple of months, but it was only a few weeks ago when he said that he wants to take a big player to Real Madrid. And I don't know if you have any guesses who that would be, other than Paul Pogba.
I didn't see that. I didn't see
okay, fair enough. But if the only reason he isn't leaving is because Juventus can't afford him or Real Madrid can't afford him, I'll ask you this, Alex. Do you think that he's basically sticking around with United because he's got nothing better to do? And is that kind of player you want at United?
I don't know. And I think this is, again, back to my first argument, where it kind of gets to the case of, if we're going to do this, it needs to happen in either this season or, I mean, coming into next year, it's going to be, is it going into the last year of his contract, as in?
I think his contract runs out 2022, yeah.
Yes, we've got 2 years left now. So this year is the year to cash in on him, almost. If we are going to sell him, this year is the year to get the money. And obviously, who knows what's going to happen in transfer windows? That might not even be an option. But going into that last year, you get into the case of people are going to get him on a cut rate, so we're going to have to start offering him a contract. And this is the thing, that if we then sign him up, and there's still this controversy, which there will be as soon as we do sign him up, is that I don't think we could move him. I don't think that if this is still happening, if we've still not found the solution to Paul Pogba, if it's still the same kind of thing where he's not quite fitting into the system, that we can't move him on. And the Madrid kind of go, look, we kind of fancied him at 350 grand a week.
The system thing.
Well, I just don't think I think that there's been times where right now, this season, even at the start of the season, I think he looked good. But I think he's kind of caught in between what Ollie wants to do. I don't think he's that one that's going to sit alongside a McTominay or sit alongside there in the 2 holding role. I don't think he's that one that's going to play in the 10. So I think it would be going back to maybe the 4-3-3 that we've done last season, which
we were playing 4-3-3 out of necessity, surely not because of.
I don't know.
Ollie came in first. He played a 4-3-3. Matic, Herrera, Pogba. Pogba's the best player in the whole team.
Yeah,
right. But you know what? And you're going to get a chance to show it in a second, because now it's time for your closing arguments. We could talk all day about this, lads. But Adam, you're going to go first.
Sorry, I interrupted most of what he had to say, but.
Well, the audience will admonish you for that in the comments. I'm sure.
Like with people like Steve, who you can't get a word in edgeways, so you have to do that.
Well, we like to have a much more structured things on the debate here at Stretford Paddock.
You need to learn, when I'm on here, just interrupt fuck out.
Just argue.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the comments, let us know, first of all, who you think won the debate and who you think is right. Because, is Paul Pogba, is it time for him to go, or would you like to see him at Old Trafford? You're going to have your closing arguments now. You've heard what the other person's had to say. Adam, you're going to go first. You've got 30 seconds as your final rebuttal to Alex and your final plea to the viewers out there why you think Paul Pogba should stay at United. 30 seconds on the clock. Off you go.
If Paul Pogba signs a new deal at Manchester United, there's no reason to be looking to get rid of this guy. If he's going to stay, keep him in the team, build the team around the likes of Bruno, Pogba, Martial, Rashford. Those are the kind of players we should be keeping. Any replacement we would get for him isn't going to be better than Paul Pogba. And those are the kind of, it doesn't make sense to me. Why are we even talking about this? If he wants to stay, keep him, for fuck's sake.
Wow. Again, 26 seconds. Very strange. The timing on these guys. Got a very emotional plea there from Adam Mckola. I'm going to have to mute you if you keep doing this, Adam.
Sorry, man.
And I'll do it. I'm the negotiator here. He's getting his furious. Look at him.
And still talk, fuck's sake.
Alex, it's your turn. You got 30 seconds to say why you think it's time maybe for Paul Pogba to leave Manchester United. 30 seconds starting from now.
I think correcting what he's saying in terms of Paul Pogba, the abuse he's been getting and all the stick he's got is wrong in a lot of cases. But I think right now is the time to try and build a team that doesn't have Paul Pogba in it. I think for as much as we say that it's not his fault, the controversy, that will always be there. And maybe Ollie is moving towards getting players in that have less of that kind of the negative stigma around them and trying something a bit different. I think we've seen this season with playing slightly different systems, with having Bruno in there. I think there's a way of doing it without Paul Pogba, and I think this is the summer to do it.
Very good. 35 seconds you took, Adams. extra few seconds there. Thank you very much for joining me, lads. Adam, you can find over on YouTube, and go on, let us know where you can find, you all know Adam Mckola, but go on, let us know, Adam. Where can you be found? Oh, has he muted himself? Adam, have you muted yourself? He's put himself in. You put yourself in self-mute because you knew you didn't.
Am I back now?
Yeah, you're back. Go on, mate.
I'm on youtube.com/Adam Mckola, and of course, Full-Time Devils.
Absolutely.
And now on here, obviously.
And he's on here as well on Stretford Paddock. So if you want Adam Mckola, come to Stretford Paddock. Thank you very much for joining us, Alex. Alex, where can you be found on social media, etc.?
Baggers_Alex on pretty much everything. So.
That's the one. Like I said, let us know in the comments who you think won the debate. Who you think, it's a pretty contentious topic, so I'm sure there'll be some good comments. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back for another debate very soon. Thanks for joining me, lads.
Bye.
Cheers, mate.
Okay, bye.